Hello and welcome back to another Fallout Wasteland Warfare battle report. Today, the super mutants have captured the Mothman in that little pen right there. It's up to these guys to save the day, to save the Mothman essentially. First, they have to find a key, which is in one of these tokens. After that, they can use the key on the gate to open it up and then get the Mothman out. The super mutants have the aviator with the aviator cap and the pipe pistol, the brute with the sledgehammer, the mutant hound with the hound bite, and the super mutant with the bolt action pipe rifle and the board. And then the Mothmen have the vengeful Mothman hatchling, the Wrathwing with the flamer, and then the Disciple with the double-barreled shotgun. All right, the Disciple is going to start us off and just double move over the rough terrain here to get behind this piece of cover. Next up, we have the Mutant Hound, who is going to also double move. Whoops. He's just going to move once and then hide back behind here somewhere. The Wrathwing is going to double move as well to here, and then he's just going to hide right there. Well, right there. Up next is the Brute with the sledgehammer, who's going to double move just like everyone else, hiding back here. Next up is the vengeful hatchling, who can fly, so he is just going to move over here first, and then second move over here. Lastly, the aviator is going to double move all the way to here, lining up his shot on this guy for the next round, and then this super mutant is going to tuck in. Oops. Right back here. All right, and that is round one. Just a lot of positioning right now between all of our people. All right, first up at the start of round two is the vengeful hatchling, who is just outside of short range to the aviator, but he's going to take 2 attacks. At long range, he gets a blue dice hitting on 6s. Armor 1 into the aviator. All right, first attack, that is a success with a stun. That's what the explosion is. Into 1 armor, so he stops all of it. And then second attack, that is an automatic success into a failed armor. That's his die is cocked. Into a failed armor roll and a slow token. So the aviator will get a slow token, a stun token, and also take a damage, and then our vengeful Mothman will be prepared. The aviator will activate next and return fire into the vengeful hatchling. He's hitting on a 4 with 2 black dice from his pipe pistol into 2 armor. That is a 9. He misses. And then, of course, his other action is to remove, or his first action, I guess, is to remove this stun token. So not much going on with him. The hatchling will then spend their prepared token to attack back, hitting on 4s now into 1 armor, 1 damage. Ooh, a 4. And the armor check is failed, so that's another damage for the aviator. Next up, we have the Wrathwing, who is just going to get into position to go at this potential key next round. After that, our Mutant Hound will go, moving once over the rough terrain, and then using its second action to charge into the Disciple with the shotgun. The Disciple will go next and break engagement with the Mutant Hound. This will trigger an attack of opportunity. And so this will be the Hound Bite, which is 2 damage on 2 armor 1 black for the charge, and then black, blue, yellow for the roll, hitting on 4s. That is a 7 with no minuses. That's a miss for the dog. With their second action, the disciple is going to shoot their shotgun into the dog. That is a black, blue, green die, 3 damage into 1 armor, hitting on 5s. Let's see what happens. That is a 10. Wow, they're just not good at hitting each other right now, I guess. All right, next up is the super mutant, who is just going to move into position over here. Take a shot at this Wrathwing, who has cover from the hills here. So he's got a green and a yellow, hitting into 4 armor because of the cover. The Wrathwing normally has 3. Hitting on 2s. So that is a 6 minus 3 is 3, so barely a miss. Last up is the brute with the sledgehammer, who's just going to move over here and then charge into the Wrathwing. We'll say he's over here. Charge into the Wrathwing for next turn. That is the end of round 2. Starting to get some action going. All right, start of round 3. We have the Wrathwing, who is going to disengage from the brute, not quite all the way to the marker there. This will trigger the brute's attack of opportunity. He's rolling 2 for the sledgehammer, 1 a black because of the charge, another black because he's strong. Into 3 armor. He's hitting on 6s since this is a quick attack. Got an 8. That would have hit if it wasn't a quick attack, but sadly he misses. For the Wrathwing's second action, he's just going to move over here and reveal a danger card and an item. So we'll see what the danger card is first, and then we'll see if the item is the key. All right, resolving the danger card first. We got open cages, which sadly is not the cage that the Mothman is in. Let's see. Not all the residents of the Safari Adventures succumbed to the demise of Nuka World. Draw and resolve a creature card. Thematic, I guess, that they would be holding the Mothman in an abandoned zoo. All right, for our creature, we have the Bloodworm Ambush. An odd bulge in the dirt catches your eye just as a terrifying bloodworm bursts out to bite you. Resolve 2 damage. So I guess I'll just roll the armor die then. Into 3 armor, he blocks all of it, so he is fine. And then for our item card, I have a little stack of items here. The gold-plated flip lighter will be the key, and then all the souvenirs are not the key. So the item he gets is the souvenir teddy bear. Not super useful right now, but sadly that was not the correct item. The brute will go next, undeterred. We'll just charge back in and make the same attack as before, hitting on 8s now though, because it's not a quick action. That is an automatic success into, oh my gosh, that is gonna be 2. He fails his armor roll because he has 3 armor, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage into the Wrathwing. Holy crap. He has an endurance of 8, so he's not down, but he almost is. The disciple's turn, who's just going to move just far enough away from the hound to still be in short range with the shotgun. And then she is going to attack, hitting on 5s into 1 armor. Same as before. That is a 6 minus 1, which is a 5. Fails the armor. And the bottle caps, which does nothing. So that's 5 damage into the hound, which kills it. Holy cow. All right, well, that was unexpected, but good job, Disciple. The super mutant is going to go next. He's just going to take 2 shots into the Wrathwing here, into the melee. He's hitting on 4s, and then we'll roll the armor die to see who he hits. We'll do the 1, 2, 3, 4. So odds are the correct target. All right, hitting on 4s with a green and a yellow dice. That is a hit. We'll see who he hits. Odds are his target. No, he hits his buddy. So that is an armor, but it's 2 damage and an armor break into the brute, who now only has 1 armor. So that's 2 damage into the brute. And then we will roll again to see for his second shot, and that is a miss. So the only attack he hit with was into his friend. I guess, are they friends? They're probably friends. It's now the vengeful hatchling's turn. He's going to charge into combat with the aviator and hit him with a hatchling sonic wave. So he is hitting on 5s. He has a blue dice, a black for charging, into 1 armor. So that's he fails. That's a 10. All right, well, never mind. The aviator is just going to attack back twice with the board. So that's 2 damage into 2 armor, hitting on 7s with a black die. First, that's an automatic failure. Second attack, that is a 9. So 2 failures from the aviator. And that is the end of round 3. We got a dead dog, an almost dead wrathwing, 1 key not found yet. And let's see what round 4 brings us. Since they have even numbers now, I flipped a 4-leaf clover thing, and it turned up with the dots. So, unfortunately, the super mutants are going to go first, and the brute is just going to hit the wrathwing twice, hitting on 8s. That's what they get the extra black die into 3 armor. That's an automatic failure. Second attack is a 7. That hits with a bottle, which does nothing, and that's 2 damage and 2 armor. So he hits, but no damage. All right, the Wrathwing is going to disengage from melee, moving over here. And then he is going, well, that'll trigger an attack of opportunity first. Then if he survives, he's going to target this point to try and barbecue them with the flamers. So we have the brute's attack hitting on 6s now, which is a 7, so he misses. All right, so now we'll resolve the flamer attack. This is the Wrathwing. I'll roll the armor separately. Hitting on 6s with a blue and a green. So he hits with an armor break and a bottle cap, which is another armor break, and a star, which puts them on fire. So we'll roll for the brute first. He has 2 armor. Fails his armor roll. And then we will roll for the super mutant, who has no armor because it's 1 armor with the armor break. All right, so it does 2 damage to both of them and then lights them on fire as well. Nice. I think I missed a clip. Or I missed showing you guys what happened. But basically the disciple moved over here and this guy took a prepared action. And then that was the end of the round. And I flipped this token and it landed on the super mutant side. So they will go first in the next round. The brute will start again and try and finally finish off this Wrathwing. Charging in, hitting on 8s with extra black dice into 3 armor. Oh, I dropped the dice. Here we go. All right. That is a success. 2 armor breaks, so that's a failed armor, and that is a dead Wrathwing, as that is 4 damage. He only had 1 left. Black. All right. Next up, the disciple is going to go. They're going to round the corner, making contact with the... Ooh, it's just the item. Or just an item. We will see what item we get, and then they are going to just take a shot into the aviator, hitting on 5s. The item, remember, if it's the gold-plated lighter, then that is the key. item they get is the gold-plated flip lighter. So they have the key, which can open the cage. So if they get it over there, they have a chance of succeeding. All right. Attack into hitting on 5. It's an automatic success with an armor break. So he blocks 1, takes 3 damage, and the star stuns him. Oh my gosh, this guy's getting stunned left and right. The aviator will go next. He'll use his first action to, to remove his stun token, and second action to attack into the disciple. We're hitting on 6s into 2 armor. That is a failure, but a quick action. The vengeful hatchling will go next, moving down here to try and tie up the aviator so that the buddy can make a run for it over there. This will trigger the attack of opportunity from the aviators. Now we're hitting on 5s with the board into 2 armor. That's an automatic failure. This aviator's not doing super great. All right, as the Wrathwing's second action, they will attack with their hatchling Sonic Wave, hitting on 5s with the black die from the charge into 2 armor. That is a 10. That's a miss. Last up is the super mutant, who's just going to double move. Move once over here and then once back over here to get into the action. All right, start of a new round. I'll flip this again. This will be super mutants. This will be... Oh, wait, actually. The cultists have less people, so they will just go first. So first up will be the disciple, just double moving to try and get to the front of the cage there to free their god, the Mothman. So yeah, we'll be able to do that next turn if they don't get tied up. Next up, we will have this super mutant go, who will just move over here and then take a shot into the disciple. This is 2 damage, hitting on 4s into 2 armor. That is a 10. That's a miss. Next up is the hatchling, who's going to make 2 attacks into... Oh, he's not waiting anymore. 2 attacks into the aviator, hitting on 5s into 2 armor. That is a 6, just barely a miss. And then second attack, that is an automatic success into 1 armor with the bottle cap, which is another stun. So yeah, that's 1 damage. The aviator has 1 health left. All right, the poor aviator will go. He will remove the stun token and then take a swing into... Well, the guy doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll take a swing into the Mothman, hitting on 7s into 2 armor. That is an 8 with no minuses, so that is a miss. All right, last up is the brute, who will take some damage from the fire, and then he's just gonna double move to try and get into the action, but that'll be the end of the round. And then since the Mothmen only have 2 models to the Super Mutants 3, they will go first again, and the disciple will run the key to the gate, and that will be a victory for the Mothmen, freeing their god, who I guess, picks this guy up, and they all fly away. Thanks for watching.